Theme music today. If you don't know, Sky's playing. Want to welcome everybody. We're almost done with 2020. Wasn't a great year for most of us, but as I said, for me. What's going on, Robert? How you doing? You like this beat, huh? Uh, uh. Okay. All right. Yeah, so what I want to talk about today was the trends I see coming up in 2021 in land, how I kind of run my day, how I'm going to improve that, and what you can start to do right now if you want to start to get into this business and actually start making some money from it. The beautiful thing is this land thing is very, very simple. It's a very simple business, and if you overcomplicate it, you're going to overcomplicate your life. Now, personally, I like to overcomplicate things because I have more fun with it. It doesn't always work to my advantage, but it is what it is. So before I get into it, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay, everybody can see me okay, everything's good. If you're watching this live, give me a shout out. If not, if you're watching the replay, that's cool too. But say, hey, I can hear you, I can see you. Everything is good. Sometimes your comments come in a little bit late. Just I don't know how Facebook does their thing. I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. Anyways, while we're here, I forgot something like. Oh, I'm glad that you understood that today, Robert, because I go live every Wednesday at 11. Now I can change the time if I want. That's the beauty about this business. I'm not tied to a schedule. I just do it at this time just because it was a random time I picked, and I figured it would be a good time that people can be live. They'll be live. Otherwise, they'll have the replay they can look at all day. I'm glad you can hear me. I appreciate that. But if I find out that more people would rather be here live than watch a replay, and it works better in the afternoon or the evening, I'll shift things around. So just let me know in the comments if that's something that's preferential for you. Oh, okay. What's up, Kim? I'm still waiting for you. We're about to get started. 22 is almost over. So just saying. All right. Now, I'm glad. So let's start with this. In the intro post that I always welcome everybody with, I kind of say, yeah, I did land investment about 3 years, and then I quit for a while, and I'll get into that later. I never really got into the whys I quit during that 1 year that I kind of took a hiatus. And so I want to start with that. I want to start with what I do every day currently and the trends that I'm noticing in the business and how things are going to change in 2021. This may be too long for one live stream. I may have to break this up into two. So, we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot that I've been working on behind the scenes I'm really excited about. So hopefully it makes things a little easier for me. And then if you guys decide to work with me, it'll make things easy for you as well. So I first got started in land investing in 2016. It was just a side hustle. As I said, I want to buy a Tesla and, pay for it and all that. And I treated it as a side hustle. So it was very much a part-time thing. I was a software engineer in Silicon Valley. So I was making decent money. But, commuting and traffic and all that was getting on my nerves, as well as office politics. And, after a while, you're kind of over it. And let's be honest, I wasn't always the best employee because it's hard for you to tell me what to do when I feel I know an alternative way. Now, I'm a great team player, but there's times I know you're not necessarily doing something for the team, so I kind of disregard you. Maybe it's the entrepreneur in me. Anyways, during that time, the business would go like this. I first started off, I would actually get a list from a county, and the county, I'll go directly to the county website. I was doing a lot of land in Nevada at the time. And during that time, there was not as many land investors as I was aware of. So it was easier to use these like smaller counties and like just basically scrape all the information from their databases, just copy and pasting names and addresses, and actually having a template here on my local computer, going through Microsoft Words, like doing like a little mail merge. So all the names would get mail merged into the template. Print everything out here at home, have me and my wife fold envelopes or fold letters, stuff them in envelopes, put it on stamps, and send them out. That was the thing for a while. I was doing that, and it worked okay. And as I said, I got my first few deals doing that. Then I started doing automated mailing, but everything else was still very much a manual process. Now, the problems I will find back then is that it'll get tough to kind of do things while I'm working. Again, this was a side hustle thing for me. And after a while, it got annoying because, I didn't know how to actually do things at a more efficient way. When I had to talk to people about sales and marketing, when people will call in for either, hey, I want to sell you my property or I want to buy property from you, I had to like go to like get conference rooms and meeting rooms or just kind of like wait until my lunch, which in hindsight it's not a big deal, but back then it felt like a big deal because it's just how I was thinking about things. When I would come up against problems, all problems were solvable, but I'm like, oh my God, there's a problem. I don't know what to do. And I started to want, instead of taking the Jim Rohn advice of instead of wishing to be things were easier, wishing to be just be better, I was wishing things to be easier. I wasn't thinking about the future. I wasn't thinking about the trends that I'm about to share with you now. And I wasn't thinking about, well, there's things about this business I don't love. How do I make it better? So after a while, I realized that it was funny. My last deal I did before I called it quits for a while, I bought some property in California. I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do. I didn't do any due diligence. I didn't do any research. I was just happy that I'd talked the guy down from like a high price to a low price. Second thing, I didn't realize that this guy owed $2,000 in taxes. So I ended up paying for property. I bought the property for like $500 or $600. It wasn't much. He initially wanted like $2,000 himself. I'm like, no. And I talked all down to 600 and I was excited for that. Didn't do any of the research as I just said. And now I'm saddled with the property that, you know, I owe $2,000 in taxes. Again, that's not a big deal. It's a property in California. I listed it for about $2,200. Okay, great. Negotiating, you know, when someone sells it or looking to buy, we talk it down like, oh, about 18 to, you know, 200, 2,000. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, great. Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. It was 3,000 I was selling it for. We talked it down to like 20. Basically, I still owed money at the end of it because of all the taxes. And I'm like, damn, I'm never again, man. This business doesn't work. Well, it works, but it's too much work, and I will never be a millionaire with this, which is not true. You can't be a millionaire doing land. And I just didn't see a way out. I was getting very frustrated with my inability to think, my inability to plan, with my inability to solve problems. Because I just saw things the way they were. Like, well, I was taught to do things a certain way, so I'm going to do them a certain way. I didn't think I can take my own talents, leverage them, and do things differently to put my own spin on this business. Now, you know, if you don't know, that's what I encourage all of you guys to do. Yes, I have ways that work for me, but, you know, do what works, but also experiment and see what things can work for you. Anyways, as you guys know my story, fast forward a year, I'm in dire straits. I have no money. I have no capital. I have nothing. I get back into land investing. I decided to make that change in March of this year. In April, I got my first property. It's December. I've sold 4 properties this week. So I got 10K coming in this week from 4 sales. Now, that's a big difference from what I was doing before by selling it to people who didn't have a lot of money. I'm only expecting a little bit down payment, you know, 100 down, 100 a month to pay me all in cash, 10K, you know, or give, you know, making 10K payments in a matter of 2 or 3 days. Now, here are the things though. During this time, during the March through December, I've noticed a few things, and you might want to write this down. One, when I look for property, I look for a few things. If I'm looking at a smaller lot, like a residential lot, and there's a lot more of the smaller residential lots than there are the bigger plots, just because, you know, just more people would want that. And oftentimes I will find an area, a subdivision that it was supposed to be the next latest and greatest thing. Like, hey, we have everything subdivided out. We're going to have all these roads and all these amenities, and it never gets built. So I'll buy lots in those areas. But the one thing I really look out for, especially in certain states, if it's unrestricted use, meaning that even though it is zoned for residential properties only, or not zoned at all, I can do what I want. If I want to put, if a buyer wants to put a mobile home on it, they can do that. They don't need building codes and inspections. They want to build a tiny house, they can do that. They want to put a meth lab on that bitch, they can do that because it's unrestricted. So for the smaller lots, unrestricted lots are much better and easier to sell because more people are willing to do whatever it takes to get those lots because no one likes restrictions. Now, does that mean that lots with HOAs don't sell? No, not at all. In fact, 3 of the 4 lots I sold this week, 3 of them were in the same HOA. You may remember I was talking about one of the lots I was getting in the HOA was like $700 a year. I sold 2 of those. And the other one, I sold same HOA, different part of the area. The HOA was like $300 a year. Much more expensive than I normally sell. But I'm just saying it doesn't matter if it's an HOA or not. But smaller lots move a lot faster when they're unrestricted. So for now on, when I'm looking for different lots that are, different areas that are smaller, I see what the building codes are ahead of time. Now again, it doesn't matter if there's building codes or not a restriction, it will sell. But when you're unrestricted, I'm finding those areas first. So that's going to be part of my scouting of areas. Can I get lots that are unrestricted? Meaning once I buy them or sell them, the user can do whatever they want with them and not have to be hassled by the county codes and inspections. The downside with those lots are because they're unrestricted, they're unregulated. That means you're going to find a rougher area that not everybody's going to be comfortable buying in that area. You're going to find a lot of the roads are neglected. You're going to find that some of the lots may have a bunch of trash and crap on them because no one's checking, no one cares. So there's trade-offs. But again, the ability for you to do what you want, I've noticed, help me sell land much faster when it's a smaller area than an area where there are restrictions. Now those restrictions, again, they prevent people from junking up the property and doing illegal things, but you got to take the good with the bad. Another thing I've noticed is, I mention this all the time, but it's the follow-up. How you find those subdivision restrictions. All right, so how do I find those subdivision? Well, that is what I'm still working out. But in general, I do two methods. One, when people are calling me about property, hey, do you have any property? Or I saw this ad you had. How do I get, is it available? And I was like, yeah, I talked to him, but I was like, okay, so what are you looking for? And like, well, I want to be able to do this, I want to do that. And usually it's a mobile home, a trailer, a camper, a tiny house. Again, something where you don't need a minimum. And I'm like, well, no, I don't have that. Well, what have you heard? What do you know? And then sometimes a prospect will actually give me an idea. But if you don't have your first property yet to start asking people looking to buy something from you, I just do a simple Google search. I'll just say unrestricted lots, and I'm seeing what other people are selling, and I'm seeing where they are. And because that is a feature for a lot of other people. So what I'll do is just, as I said, say unrestricted lots in this county or this state. And then you'll see listings for people who are selling property. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then if I see what the county is, then I'm like, all right, cool. And then I can go look up where that county is on Netero online. I can start finding properties. I can start contacting these people and then going through that. Now, it still has to pass the sniff test. If it's flooded with people selling property, I'm not going to buy it. I'm just not going to do it. I won't be able to sell it. I will be one of millions or thousands of people trying to sell crappy land that not many people want. But that's just how I do it. So basically, you just got to hunt around a little bit. You just got to Google search a little bit. Hell, even call up some counties. Like, hey, do you have any areas that there's no building codes or inspections? Just see what they say. So it's not hard. You just got to do the work. And a lot of newbies don't want to do this work. This is why they're not successful. This is why they stick to certain areas. This is what I was doing before I quit, because I'm like, oh, I'll never get rich doing this. Well, because I was in shitty areas. I was in very shitty areas. So anyways, moving on from that. So small lots. Number two, while most of my lots are going to be smaller in nature because there's just more of them available, I'm going to start to target bigger and bigger lots. Now, once you get your first deal under your belt, you're going to make, that $2,000, $3,000, whatever you're going to make on that first deal. You can definitely use that to buy a bigger lot. Or you can wait a couple of times, so take that $1,600 payday, that $2,000 payday, buy 2 or 3 lots with that. And now after the second or third deal, you'll have plenty of money to buy the bigger lot, as well as to continue to buy the smaller bread and butter lots that are going to be more common for you. With that said, what I'm looking now is for bigger lots. Why? Because you get bigger paydays. Again, you're going to have a different class of buyer when you are dealing with a bigger lot. They're not looking to necessarily build a tiny home per se. They have other interests and goals in mind. Maybe it's more for a business. Maybe they want to build something nice, a bigger home, and have a space for their animals. It could be pets. It could be, I wouldn't necessarily say like cattle and things like that. You'll need many, many acres for that. But in general, you're going to have a different class of buyer. And usually those buyers, they don't play around with money. When they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy. So that's when you start getting those bigger paydays, when you're getting, PayPal amounts for like $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 off for an investment of $2,000 or $3,000. So the margins or the ROI in percentages is roughly the same, but it's just bigger numbers. And while those deals may or may not be as abundant, they are there and they are always around. So you have to make sure that you don't just keep your eye out on just the smaller deals. Again, the smaller deals are going to be there. Those are going to be the ones that you're probably going to make most of your money doing. They're easy to get. They're easy to sell. But the bigger deals are the ones that's going to help you move the needle even faster. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, trying to get bigger and bigger lots as I move forward. Now, what else am I going to be looking for? Well, something I just told some of the people I'm working with is like you can actually buy lists of previous cash buyers. So instead of having to rely solely on your own marketing efforts, there's places where you can buy these lists of cash buyers. So when you're selling, you can just say, hey, I noticed you bought a lot in this area and you paid cash for it. I have another lot. Are you interested? They're more likely to be interested in that area because they just bought, especially they bought recently within the last year or so. And that way now you can actually start to, I don't know, I wouldn't say hustle your way to a sale, but you kind of can because now you have control. You have a list of buyers, and then as you're having other people inquire about property, and if as they miss out, you can start to talk to them a little bit. Hey, you missed out on this property, but I got another one in the area. Are you interested? So all of these things that are coming up is going to help me do things that I'm going to talk about momentarily. Another trend I'm noticing. Let's look at the political climate that we have in our country right now. A lot of division, a lot of anger, and a lot of people who aren't really sure what's going on. They're not sure what to believe. And in my personal experience, those people, which is most people, they want to get away from what's going on. Having something rural, something that they can call their own, something that they don't need a bank to finance is going to be a lot more appealing, especially as people are losing their jobs, as people are finding like they don't have places to go, or as the economy is going to do things because of the coronavirus. Having something they can call their own and they don't have to make payments on is going to be very appealing. So being able to get these lots at a low price is going to help. How am I going to get lots at a low price so I can sell at a low price? Well, the same pressures. Where can I buy these lists? I'll tell you about that in a second. The same pressures that people have that makes people want to get away will also be the same pressures that people have like, shit, I have this property. I don't know what to do with it. I need some cash. Oh, hey, I just got this postcard from this guy that's willing to buy the property. Let me call him up. It wouldn't be the price I want, but I'll sell it because whatever. They're not realizing the asset they have, so they're looking to sell. Now, where can you buy these lists? Well, there's different websites and tools and resources out there that you can buy, like basically lead generated lists. Now, those lists aren't going to be as powerful as the ones that you create yourself, but they're still a good starting point for where you go. Now, these lists, you're going to need to be a membership of certain programs. I actually just found out there's the software that I use is actually what they call white labeled software, meaning there's a developer out there that makes a software and they sell it to other companies who put their own logo and branding on it, and they sell it as if it's their own. So if you just go out and type in Google, like, where can I buy a cash buyer's list for real estate, things like that, you're going to come up with these different things, and you just find what works best for you. That's how you find these lists. Let's see if people want to chit chat and see what's going on in the parts of the country. Yeah. So that's actually a good point, Terry, because check this out. When you're actually talking to these folks, when you're buying or selling, especially these elderly people, they love to talk. They don't really get a chance to converse with people. So they just want to talk. And, some people are more ruthless. They're like, yeah, I got to go. Bye. Click. I'm not like that, and whatever works for you. But with that information, you can actually find new information of where you could start going in other parts of the country to buy land, seeing what's actually going on in that parts of the country, and even when you're buying property from that elderly person, they can give you a lot of information about the lot you're buying and the surrounding area that's going to make it easier for you to sell. Or if you need to find out, okay, I need to find out where to get this restrictions, where to get that. They give you that information, even they feel they don't know much about it. So, yeah, good. I'm all over the place. I'm answering questions. I've been doing this, but it's all good. Now, before I go forward, and I'm gonna tell you about the changes I'm about to make in my business. I'm gonna give you a rundown of my typical day. So I get up around 6:30. I'll read. I love to read. It helps me to basically feed my brain so I can give you guys this good content and to help myself, because we all need to be improving every day. After I read for about 20-30 minutes, I'll work out. I got a nice little home gym here. And then after that, bring my kids to school, or my daughter to daycare. My son's, distance learning right now. Then I come home, I'll eat, and I'll start to get to work. What do I get to work in? I'll call back people who inquired about land. Either they're looking to sell me their property or they're looking to buy property. I'll call them back. And then if I make a deal, I'll do some due diligence. So basically, I'm looking to see, can I buy this property legally? What are the things I'm going to use for my marketing? Things of that nature. After that, I go to the bank to get a cashier's check, and I'll put everything together in an envelope, send it to the person I'm buying the property from, new deed and all that. I go to the post office. If I'm selling a property, I have to go to the UPS store and get the new deed notarized. I used to go to my bank, but then I have to make an appointment, and I can't do it when I want. So I just now go to the UPS store, get it notarized. So then about noon, 1 p.m., I come home. I'm pretty much done for the day. I made my deals. I made my money. I'm out. Now, sounds pretty good, yeah? But there are some things I don't like. And these are where the improvements are coming in. And there'll be some. So here are the obvious improvements. Number one, the fact that I got to leave my house to record a deed is annoying. The fact I got to pay $15 for every deed I record here in California at UPS store is annoying. Other states, it's only $5, so it's really nothing. But $15 adds up after a while. It's annoying. Not the end of the world. And again, that $15 basically pays for the fact that I can come and go and get a deed or notarized whenever I want. What I understand these days, there are ways that you can actually get deeds notarized or anything notarized online. I think they use like a Zoom type of interface, and now you don't have to leave your house to notarize a document. How does that work? I'm not sure, but that is something I'll be looking into for 2021 to save my time so I don't have to leave. Now, if that price costs a lot more than my time and that $15, then I'll have to evaluate. If I have a lot more deals coming in, then it makes sense. I also ran the possibility of actually having a notary on staff. Not like I would pay him, but I'll be like, hey, look, you're going to be my notary. You're going to be the person that you're going to come to my house like every Wednesday, every Thursday, whatever it is. We're going to notarize some deeds, and we're going to be good. I'm going to pay you and make it worth your while. That way I don't have to leave my house. That way I can do what I want, and things are on my schedule. What if you're a notary? Can you do it? You can't notarize your own documents. It's kind of like a conflict of interest. But you can do, though, if you have your spouse become a notary, that can work. I tried to get my wife to be a notary. She didn't want to do it, so that's why I got to find somebody outside of doing it. But if you can get a family, I do have an aunt that's a notary, but she lives an hour away from me. So I might as well just pay the $15 and go to UPS store at that case. But the point is, I'm looking for ways to minimize my time where I must leave the house. Now, I've done that with the post office. So what I've done in advance is I went to USPS.com, and in advance I bought the priority mail stamps and the priority express mail stamps. So now I don't have to do anything except just put the stamp on the priority envelope to send it out and receive packages. So that means I can just take the deed and everything I want to send and just drop it off in any blue mailbox, and it's already sent out. I don't got to wait in line at the post office. I don't got to buy postage. It's already done. My husband was going to become one for work. If your husband does become a notary, then that makes things easier for you. Because how do I know this works? Some of the people I've sold property or I bought property from, they had their spouse notarize it for them because they're in the real estate game. So it's kind of like a nice symbiotic relationship. And if you do become a notary, you can use that skill as another side hustle. There's another thing that's actually growing up, that's blowing up right now, where people are just becoming that mobile notary. I've had to use mobile notaries to help elderly people who couldn't get out the house get things notarized. And for each time you notarize something, you go over there, you get paid $75, $100, depending on the area and whatnot. So it's not a bad side hustle. But the problem is you got to do a lot of traveling, and I'm trying to eliminate the travel. Hence, doing things online or whatever. Anyways, going back to it, as I saw in the I eliminated having to go to the post office buying things, but I still got to buy a cashier's check. Why do I buy a cashier's check? Well, it protects me as the buyer. If I pay with a personal check and the person who says, yeah, I'm going to sign a deed and this and that, and they play funny with my money, it's going to take a lot more time and effort for me to get my money back. If I have a cashier's check, that means it is the bank's money, not my money. So I buy the check from the bank with the funds in my account. I send that. If I say, hey, bank, that person did some kind of fraud by not giving me what they promised, the bank is like, what? Hold on. Get my mans in there. We got the clappers in debt. Clack, 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 clack. And they're ready to start busting on people. So they get your money back real quick. So that's why I do the cashier's check. I do not have a solution yet, but I'm going to figure something out where I can actually have, because obviously you can send a regular check, you can send a money order, you can do PayPal, you can do things with younger people, older people, not so much. But there's got to be a way where you can actually send them the money for the property up front so they, do things quickly, but you don't have to go to the bank to get a cashier's check. There's got to be a way you can do it where you can actually protect yourself in case they do act funny, and you can get your money back without an issue. There are some electronic checks that are out there, and they may work. The thing is, with electronic checks, you send it via email or something, you got the person on the other end have to print it out. I don't know how many elderly people would want to do that because it just seems kind of odd. A younger person may be more hip to it and like, it seems weird, but I'll give it a shot. Especially if you say, hey, cash this before you do anything. You don't got to believe me. But yeah. So that's an issue that I'm going to be working on. That's the one thing I haven't done that. I actually developed some more systems for follow-up as well when I'm actually talking to people who I'm buying from or selling from, that it's going to help me do things in an automated fashion. So I don't have to keep track of like, hey, wait, who did I say I was going to buy from and who else? There's going to be a way that I'm going to actually start using reminders and things like that. I'm actually building the system as we speak to actually help me understand who I'm buying and who I'm selling from, when I need to get back to them, when I need to get an answer. Because at the end of the day, I want a yes or a no so I can move on. Whether you're buying from me or you're selling to me, I want to know, have a yes or a no. So that is one thing I'm working on. And the final thing is, those are the 4 obvious issues from the things of my day. It's 4 obvious issues, right? Recording deeds, I got to wait in line, going to the post office, I figured that out. Remembering who the contact is, yes or no. I have a system in place. I'll be sharing more about that in 2021. And paying for things for a cashier's check. I don't have a solution for that. But if I have a solution for that, that means I don't have to actually be in America to do this business. Because that way I can be anywhere on the globe and start sending checks and sending deeds and getting things recorded and all that. Right now, I have to be in the contiguous 48 states for me to do this business. This is why I only have Americans in the group for the most part. But I do know, as a person who's not an American, you can actually buy American property because, as I said before, I've bought property from Americans. But that's going to be the big thing, making sure I can do this land thing as a global thing. Now, what people do currently is they just hire people in the mainland to do some of these tasks for them. That has always been an option, and I think it's a great option. But personally, I want to see if I can do things with the computer because the computer never sleeps. They never need time off. They never quit. They never get tired. So that is what I'm looking to do. Do things online, do things with the computer because of those reasons. Now, we're already at 28 minutes. All right. Now, here are some of the hidden issues that I'm actually solving in 2021. And I'm actually really excited about. I already kind of touched on this first one, having that buyer's list that I can buy from somebody else. Can't you do all that in your CRM? It depends on the CRM that you run. Like personally, I don't have a CRM because I didn't feel that it was worth the money. So Robert's asking like keeping track of buyers and sellers and all that. When you first start out, you can get a very complicated and fancy CRM, but those things that you're paying monthly for something. And for the most part, most people won't ever need that CRM. Once you start doing a lot more volume and a lot more sales, then a CRM like that is probably going to be vital. As you're in that transition period where you're like, okay, well, do I need this? Do I not? It gets tough. And here's the thing. If you know something about this, Robert, let me know. Now we're going to kind of jump. We're going to kind of jump a little bit in my thing and what I was going to talk about. These days, text is where it's at. Buying property and selling property is a lot of it done through text. You definitely need a phone call because they need to hear your voice and all that. But text is where it's at. I am not sure what CRM really integrates with text the same way it does with email and phone calls. If you know of one, I would love to hear about it. I'm personally building one myself, but it's definitely made just for me and how I work. It wouldn't be something that I don't think anybody else would want to use just because you guys aren't me. But I've noticed the more I text with people who are interested, the more I get deals. It's easier to follow up, and it feels like an intimate form of communication that is not super intrusive. Because it's intimate because it's direct line to the person, but it's not intrusive where it's like a phone call where you got to answer it right then and there, right? You hear the text blink, you don't want to you don't want to answer right away. You don't have to. It's a text. It's not that big a deal. I don't know how many CRMs incorporate with text in a way that makes it feel that it's not just a mass text that goes out that your people are replying stop to, and they think it's some kind of scam or spam text. Oh, you do know of one? Let me know. I would definitely love to hear about that. But right now, what I do with text, because it's very personalized. I have these conversations with people. I have these notes with people on my computer. It makes it very easy to kind of keep track of who's what. And I keep track of who the buyers. Again, what any CRM would do. But I don't know when with text. But if you know, Robert, let me know what CRM that you have that incorporates that well with text. I'm very interested in that because text is where it's at. And the beautiful thing is, once you have your text list going, it's much easier to make those subsequent sales because you already have that relationship. You still need to use your phone to call these people. They need to hear your voice. They need to hear you talk. They need to hear all that to know you're a real person. That's just how business works. But once you establish that trust and communication, you can stay with the text because it's easier. Shoot them a text, and then with the text, I shoot links to my profile or to my my website, just the page where the property in question is on. So that's why text is a really big deal. But yeah, Robert, if you got something for me, I'm very interested. As I said, I've been building something myself. It's been working for me. But no, this is awesome. I appreciate that. Speaking of, so we talked about how we need to stay up with people, follow up. We talked about buyers list. One issue that I have currently is trying to sell two properties in the same area at the same time. If I list both properties at the same time on Zillow or Craigslist for example, now they're competing against themselves, right? As people are looking back and forth, and it's just too much. It's too much. So what I do now is I look, Mr. Prospect, I have one property. This is the deal of a lifetime. You're either going to take it or somebody else is going to take it. It helps put that pressure on them to buy, right? But if they know I have more in the pipeline or I have more ready to sell as soon as this one is sold, it takes away that pressure. So I only do one at a time. But doing one at a time slows me up because people need time to go view the property. They need to do their own due diligence and they need to get over their own fears and all that. So what can you do? Well, this is where that follow-up comes in. This is where that list of buyers comes in. Sure, I may advertise just one property, especially to that list. But as soon as that first property sells, I go, look, I got a second one. You missed the first one, I got a second one. Also, when you are doing this, even if you have a ton of properties and they know it, your serious buyers, you can tell them, hey, look, I got 3 or 4. You pick the one you like. I know you're a buyer because we've proven that. I don't have to worry about overwhelming you because you're past the fear, you're past all that. So I can show you all that. So that's where the buyers list comes in. That's where that the CRM, the texting all comes in because you're cultivating people. You're cultivating those leads. And just like with any CRM or anything else, people who aren't ready to buy yet, you can kind of flag them and mark them. Okay, they're not there yet. I'm going to have to give them more value content. I'm going to have to give them something that get them to know me. Let them trust what I do. Let them trust this is all in the up and up, and this is going to be a great deal for them as well. So that takes time. But those that are ready to go, you can actually start to market those separate properties at the same time. So that actually solves a problem I had in 2020. How do I sell more than one property at once? That was it. Having a big pool of people who I know won't be overwhelmed, who I know understand the area, and all they need is a quick look-see, just make sure that things are where they are, and they're like, all right, we got it, let's do this. Boom, money's coming in. That's kind of how I got a lot of my sales for 2020. A lot of it was repeat business with people who understood me. They didn't even have to go look at the property after a while. They're like, oh, it's another one from you. I got you. We don't even need to do the buyer's agreement because I already know what I'm going to get. I still treat it in the same way, and everything was good. So, shit. All right. I actually got a bigger list. It's already been 34 minutes. I'm going to cut this live stream here, and we'll finish this at the end of 2020. I appreciate you guys listening in. I know I was all over the place because I was answering questions, and I'm like, okay, let me see how I can tie this back. But this was good stuff. I hope you found this valuable. Now, listen, if you found this information valuable, let me know by sharing this with other people. Please don't hoard this information for yourself. Share the wealth. Let people know what they can, the options they have on this land stuff. And the more dedicated land people we have in this, the more we actually grow as a group, right? Nobody does this alone. No one can be successful by themselves. We always get help from somebody. We always get inspiration from somebody or a group of somebody's. We always need somebody to lean on when times get tough, right? There's challenges that I've been through that you haven't, that I can help you with. And there's challenges that you've been through that I haven't, that you can help me with. And as we have more and more people join the group that are serious about this, it makes the group that much better. All right, so that's it for today. Hopefully, next week you guys will be able to tune in. It'll be the last week of 2020, and we're going to actually be doing some good stuff. So 2021 is going to be a big year. I got some announcements for you guys as well as at the end of 2020. But yeah, man, this is great. I really appreciate you guys listening. So yeah, man, God's plan. All right, you guys take care. Enjoy your Christmas, your Hanukkah, your Kwanzaa, your Saturnalium, whatever you celebrate or you don't celebrate. Stay safe. Don't be stupid out there. COVID is real. It ain't a scam. Don't be an idiot. All right, let's stay safe. All right, you can't make money if you're sick. Even if it doesn't quote unquote kill you, why risk it? All right, don't spread it. Stay safe. Mask up. All that good stuff. All right. Other than that, peace.